Time we working on that.
Mic check, mic check. All right. You ready?
All right, I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
What's going on, people? This is No Labels Podcast. I am your host, Willie G. We got Ms. Audrey in the building.
Hey y'all.
What's going on, man? How y'all doing today, man? We Tuesday, we work day.
Oof.
Long day. How you doing, first of all?
I'm good. I'm tired, but it's a good tired. You know, I've been real productive today, but it's been a long day.
Okay.
Been a long couple of days because I've been having to go out of town for work and go out to South Carolina and Hilton Head, and it is busy season. It's like holiday season. That's their holiday
Back to
season.
school?
Well, not back to school because Hilton Head is a resort town. So all the people who live in cold weather states that have summer homes, they're in Hilton Head. That's where they come, and we get people. Probably the most frequent we get like people from Minnesota, Michigan, Indiana. We get people from all over, but you get a lot of people from that northern Midwest. I call it South Canada.
So
you know,
Come down here
but they
for the sunlight.
come for the sunshine, and so it's like it kind of kicks off Memorial Day and goes straight through Labor Day, and it's crazy busy out there. And so I go out there to help them out a couple days a week. If they do like fireworks on every Tuesday night, it'd be lit.
I like your head. I like
Hilton Head is interesting. I like most parts of Hilton Head. There's some.
your head where the money at.
Here's the thing. It is where the money is. It's old money.
Mm-hmm.
Is I'm not gonna go too deep into the kind of money that's out there, but if you learn the history of Hilton Head as it relates to Savannah and Black culture and things like that, but the people like the customers that we get in and the guests, they are either the sweetest people you will ever meet, or they treat you like the help. It's kind of like no in between. It is more kind, sweet people than
How they just let the help?
it's just it's subtle, and it's not necessarily just like a black thing. They just treat people like the help. They're so used to just do this for me, they'll like if they're shopping for a shirt, they hold it up and kind of like toss it at you, or like what I'm saying, they just kind of are used to being catered to, and almost forget that you're human.
Yeah.
And it's just like, don't point and kill click me, no,
Hold up.
you know.
Hey, bro.
And so they just kind of, it's like an expectation that you're here to serve me. Or like it might be like a store full of like 20 people and this one person wants all of your attention. And they like, but I need, like, well, I need, but they're out there, but you get more of the really kind people than you do those. But there's some people that'll treat you like the help.
I was in all kind of neighborhoods like that. Listen.
Yeah.
I love my Amazon people, but some Amazon customers,
Listen. Anyway,
I'm
so I'm good. A good tired. And then,
I'm a little tired too, you know what I'm saying? But we're gonna chop
listen, I need to put a warning because my tired conversation can go.
We're not gonna have a secret, then we're gonna start laughing. Nah. We're gonna call this Lean on Me.
Lean on. See, he's tired. Lean into it is what it's called. Lean into it.
We call it.
You feeling a little Joe Clarkish?
Nah, we're gonna call it Lean
Into it.
You know what I'm saying? But before we get into that, I wanna talk about just the icebreaker. Wakanda.
Oh, Wakanda forever.
It's about to be another event.
Wakanda forever.
If you are watching this or will,
Chadwick Boseman said
watching
always
this,
right over left. He said when you cross, Chadwick Boseman said always right over left.
Who do we think gonna be the next Black Panther though? Like who? Like just if you throwing out a guess.
Shuri, the little sister.
I'm thinking it's Shuri too.
What I really would like to see
could be Killmonger.
But the rite of passage and like the way you become Black Panther, you gotta fight it out. Now if Killmonger and the sister gotta fight, I'm here for that scene, especially if the sister wins. But all the twists and turns, but
either way,
I would love to see that Cliff Mountain scene where they fight it out.
I like that soundtrack. How they did with the trailer.
Oh, that is the most emotional trailer I've ever seen in my life.
Like 3 or 4 times.
I watched it twice and I was like, it ain't coming out to November. I didn't need to see this till October.
Listen,
I don't need to see this in July and have to wait.
Black Panther was the biggest movie event I ever been to.
And this one is about to be bigger.
It was sold out. I ain't never seen a movie sold out that many times.
This is about to be bigger because
I got it.
of a lot of reasons.
I was so, and then that was right around the time. That was like around 2020 time when Black Panther came. When Black
It was
Panther,
like, was it 20? No, it was before COVID.
It was before COVID.
It was like, yeah, it was like 20. It was like 2018.
It was before.
Was it 2018? 18 or 19? Somebody check it.
But I know there was a lot going on.
But yeah,
because I remember that line that shook everybody. Well, with Killmonger had the line that shook everybody when like, how he said it? I don't want to murder. You remember it? I ain't gonna disrespect the kill, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, and I'm not. I don't want to misquote it either.
Anyways, but listen, but I felt so. I don't know. It was an event, so I had to. I really want to try. I'm ready for that.
Yeah, we.
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. So much honor to his legacy.
And nobody ever knew. Like nobody knew. Right? Like he did Black, but like that's just speak. And it's just like, yeah, they gotta. I know they're gonna do his legacy right. Especially like, I love his I love his movies.
Ryan, is it?
Yeah,
Ryan Coogler. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I have so much reverence for the legacy of Chadwick Boseman.
They're gonna bring the Marvel, because Marvel been. I ain't gonna lie. You a Marvel fan?
Oh yes.
Marvel been like the last two.
I've heard mixed reviews about Thor. I will say this: the last Thor was a little too fantastical for me, and I heard that that this new one is similar in that way. So I don't know, but I will tell you what I really do like Doctor Strange.
I like the first one. The second one was weird.
This most recent one, Into the Multiverse.
I went to the theaters and seen that.
I didn't see it in the theater, but I did see it.
We snuck out and got the kids a babysitting and all. Like,
it's not for the kids.
Wow, yeah.
I wouldn't take kids to see that.
I mean, it was still like Doctor Strange's, but for me, it wasn't on Marvel level. Like, nah.
Well,
I think the last good one I seen was the last real good Marvel. I like the one I seen on Disney Channel, Shang-Chi or something like that.
Oh, I heard it was great. I haven't watched that one yet.
That was good.
I've only heard good things about that, but I haven't seen it. That is on my list of movies, Marvel movies to watch. So, but yes, I am a Marvel fan.
I did want to mention the Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever.
I wanted to brief mention the robbery on the pulpit. Somebody walked in the middle of the service. I don't know this bishop's name, so I'm not going to try to say it. But, yeah, they walked in the service.
What y'all think about that?
They walked in the service, and I'm like, bruh, in the middle of service. So, I don't really know enough to really talk about it, but I do know it happened.
Yeah, I don't know much either. And I will say my initial thought was I'm glad everybody was safe and is safe. But my second immediate thought was there's got to be somebody that know y'all.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
I would think that, but I don't know. I don't. That would be, maybe I think that makes it a little less scarier in my mind.
Yeah, the scary part is they don't know him and they did that.
Yeah, but that clip that I sent you earlier, that's like trending on the Shade Room now, where I guess he went on I don't know if it's a podcast. I'm unfamiliar with the other people he were talking to, but they're having this conversation about what happened, and it just gets really heated, and they start yelling, and then it just goes to like low blow insults. And my first thought when I sent it to you and a couple of friends, I was like, this is embarrassing.
You say it's embarrassing because they're leaders?
I think it's embarrassing because they're leaders. I think it's embarrassing because of your role in the faith. You're a bishop, and just the back and forth where you're losing conversation because people are yelling at each other, and then you're getting insulting, and like, and I completely, because what he kept saying was y'all were making light of this or laughing at this, and this is my family. This really happened, and I completely understand that sentiment, but if you get to a point where you can't say it without yelling and then throwing these low blow insults at this woman, and it's just a clip that I saw. Obviously, it's the one that's circulating. I was like, it's just the whole thing. As far as like, I'm not here to talk about like the right or wrong of it, but just like as far as how people already have whatever views they have about our faith, or far like views that they already have about ministry leaders. I just from a bigger picture of effective witness, if you're called to lead people, and if you are in that role, you're leading mostly through your words and your teaching and preaching, and then your actions. And I think his words and his actions in that moment were just a little embarrassing. And the phrase that came to my mind that I heard on what was the show, To Get Down, was like, raise your words, not your voice. Raise your, and it gets to the point of just yelling and nobody's listening to each other, and then it's just these insults flying. It's just like, what are we even talking about? Because we're not talking about it anymore. We're just emotionally just charged up and mad and yelling, and nobody's listening to anybody. And like, what is the point that we're trying to make with this? And again, that's a lot that I put on a clip, but that's what's circulating. But obviously, those things were said in those tones and the yelling and the insults, and it was sad. So for me, I thought it was sad to watch, and I thought it was embarrassing.
Me personally, I don't like it being live. Like, if you gonna have a conversation, I'm not gonna have that kind of conversation. I mean, I guess in a way you can look at it, okay, we're gonna show it to the public. Like, we're gonna, okay, this happened in public, so let's go live and let's have a conversation. But you got to be able to have the conversation.
You got to be able to have the conversation. And
but I don't know, like, me or you don't know details, but just I mean, even.
And also, I watch how a lot of different, like, people move in certain situations as far as public figures. And I think there's a reason and some wisdom in not speaking so quickly after an incident, because you're still very emotionally charged. Your emotions are high. You really don't fully know how you feel about it, because it's probably on level, the residue of it is still happening. And so maybe it would have been wise to wait a little bit before talking about the incident, you know? Like, whatever people speculate, that's on them. Yeah. But then when you come out, but if you give yourself time to really, really think about it and to kind of temper your emotions and go into it with, how do I really feel? What do I want to say? Because it's your experience. And I don't think it should be belittled or anything like that. But I think you make it harder for yourself to be heard if you lead with that level of emotion coming off of an incident like that. Yeah. So I think it might have been a little more prudent to wait before speaking.
I had to learn that. You know what I'm saying? That's a lesson to learn in everybody, especially in relationships. Because, boy, when that emotion high, you will walk away from an argument and be like, dang, bro.
And another thing.
That was kind of, bro. No, you ever said something that you was like, bro, that was too much.
Yes. You know how much I talk? Yes. That's why I know I've been offensive before. I know that I can say hurtful things because I've said them unintentionally.
Real quick.
And then in hindsight, it's like, Audrey, you should think a little bit, and then you should think quickly. You should think, I'm going to give you this time and I'm going to finish before you finish that sentence that started with the word women. No, but I've learned from getting it wrong that it is wise to take a moment, or it is wise. So at least before you so quick to respond, really take in what they've said, you know.
Listen.
It don't always work out in the best way, but I'm better.
But what I'm about to say, one thing about women know how to push that button. See, that's when men know how to match too, but women know how to push that because they know how to mess with our egos. But y'all know how to mess with our egos. Y'all know what to say that's gonna make us feel a kind of way. At least from my experience and the people that I know, we done had similar experiences. Like, when she really trying to be petty, oh yeah, she gonna.
No, not petty, but petty, but. Yeah, I think that comes with any intimate relationship. The thing is, you know like all parts of each other. You know the sensitive topics. You know this will rub this person the wrong way, and you've trusted that person with it. You know, and so to use it against them, that's a low blow.
I'm just saying.
But the truth is, you do know how you do know what to say that will hurt. You know how to hurt someone when they've revealed to you their sensitivities. Then that means that you know how to hurt them, but they trust that you wouldn't.
Now it's the difference between like being verbally abusive and petty. Thin line.
Yes,
it's a thin line.
And it's not that thin.
It's like, okay,
it's not that.
It's the difference between being abusive. Like if somebody, like, I'm not about to Okay, now that's just you wrong for that.
Here's one thing that I've learned to do is I am very careful. Hey, Keith. uh, our producers don't want to join. Anyway, I have learned to be very careful about what I call abusive and what I call toxic because they aren't the same thing. They may be like kin, but they're not quite the same thing. But they both hold a heavy connotation.
You don't think abusive is and toxic is the same?
I think they are related. But I guess here's my point. Like I was in a relationship that I would describe as toxic. I'm very careful not to say that it was abusive because I know the connotation that word carries. And so people gonna think that I was getting like physically harmed or things like that. And that wasn't the case. So I'm just very careful because I'm aware that words hold connotation. So if I were to say that I was in a relationship that was abusive and that's not true, or if there's a better word for it, because it's still respect for another person, respect for the person I was in a relationship with. And people may have their thoughts about how much respect they deserve or whatever, but I still think people deserve respect. People can grow and change, whatever. And I'm not in that relationship anymore. And so I do think that it had a lot of toxicity in it, but I'm very careful not to describe it as abusive because I know what image that could create in people's minds, and it's not true. And that's a heavy thing to project on somebody if it's not true.
But I mean, we all have toxic moments though.
Yes.
I guess the difference between toxic moment and a toxic.
But here's
situation.
the thing: if a woman tells you that she was in an abusive relationship, what does your mind go to?
As in what?
Like if a woman was to say, I was in an abusive relationship and that was it. I know for me, my mind automatically going to like black eyes and broken ribs.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're
but
saying.
If it was like maybe toxic, it was just like, this wasn't good for me. I thought maybe he was lying and just manipulative, and I just, maybe he talked down to me, and it wasn't anything overt, nothing that's just like, why? Because if it was like, wow, you wouldn't have stayed for as long as you did.
Yeah.
But if you know what I'm saying? So those words carry different assumptions. So I'm very careful to not use the word abusive.
Yeah.
Knowing the image that may conjure up, if that is not my experience, because it's not fair to that other person that I was in relationship with, because that's not the truth. That's not the most effective way to describe it, based on the image that comes to mind when we say the word abusive. So I'm just very careful with the language that way.
I see what you're saying. I mean, that's I feel it. I mean, I don't have my toxic moment. I don't even know how we got to this, but we how did we get here in the first place? Talking about emotions? Okay.
Yeah, leading with emotions, and you was saying how women do know how to like push buttons.
We do too, though.
Yeah, y'all do.
We do. Lean into it. What do I mean by lean into it? So before we end up on 95. In one of our podcasts, Miss Audrey, I've been using this picture. Okay, so when you leave, how did you say it? When you leave the bottom, when you leave the top of one level, you go to the bottom of the next.
If you're wherever you currently are, you're in some level of life, and as you continue to grow and mature, you level up, and then once you get a certain level of mastery, you are at the top of that level. It's like starting a new job. If you start a new job and you're a rookie, but if you stay in it long enough and you learn the ins and outs, you get really good. And if you stay at it long enough, you become high ranking on that level. Like you're the go-to person, you know all the things, probably to the point where somebody will offer you a promotion. Now, that promotion will put you on a higher level, but you're at the bottom of that level.
Okay.
And so you have to learn all over again. And so where everybody was coming to you for all the answers and the advice and how do you do this and how does this work, once you get promoted, now you need to know who you can go to ask those same questions. But you have been elevated. So you are growing and you are advancing. But the feelings that come with being at the bottom of a higher level is that you feel inadequate. You're probably getting stuff wrong. You're just like a baseline
nervous.
student. Nervous. You know,
So
people start talking about like imposter syndrome and things like
I
that.
want to talk. I do want to talk about that, but okay, that's okay. So how would you? Because a lot of people watching, there's a lot of people I've been talking to. How would you paint that same picture as far as okay, you know how we say different seasons, new seasons. How would you say that to somebody not going up in their job or their career, but like in their life? You know what I'm saying? They're at a different season. You know what I'm saying? More responsibilities. Uh, okay, me. I use my okay. I'm here. Okay, I'm at the bottom of this starting the podcast level. I have no idea. Well, I do have an idea because of the content, so I can do my research. But as far as like here, I'm in a new place, so I'm figuring it out as I go.
Mm-hmm.
We figuring it out as I go. We all started at in a dance studio.
Yeah, a little dance.
We started at a dance studio, never just for fun, and just because we like to talk. And so this is new space.
Yeah.
As a man, I'm in uncharted territory. Kids getting older, so it's like what I mean by lean into it. And I let you paint. I let you paint your picture, but like okay, not running away from the obvious uncomfort that it's gonna take to get to the other side. You know what I'm saying? It's like okay, just embrace, like just sit for a second. You know what I'm saying? That's why that's where the vices come from, because especially for men, like we don't really like to sit. We don't like to feel it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's good to feel where you at sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's what I mean by leaning. Like, lean forward. Like, there's only one way to go is forward. So it's like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you do your. I'm gonna let you do your author thing.
Distracted by my hair.
That's all right. We tired.
So, the question is like, what do you do? Is that the question?
Yeah, it's like, how would you, if you talking to somebody now in a new season, or even yourself, you know what I'm saying? It's like, how would you help somebody? How would you paint that picture? Like, okay, the same way you just painted that picture in the industry world. How would you paint that in like seasons? You know what I'm saying? Would it be the same concept as far as like, okay, like a new season?
Yeah, on some level is well. I'm trying not to get stuck into like the literal, because I know what you mean.
I might have should have asked the question better.
No, because when you talk about seasons of life, it is it's okay. It's kind of the same. It's still levels. It's still changing. And
Okay.
You still
Okay.
gotta,
So, what are your thoughts on that concept? Just lean into it. Like, how you feel
wait
about
a minute,
that?
wait, let's go. What? Are you losing me? Which questions am I answering?
What are your thoughts about leaning into it? I was like, bump that.
Oh, so you just dismissed that?
Just dismiss that.
Wait, I do want to say, okay, my answer, I think, to what I think Willie's asking is that you still want to become a student of wherever you are.
Okay.
And so let's say if you're a student of a place that you've been in for a long time and you keep studying certain things and you realize that everything you're studying is telling the same thing, you do kind of know this, maybe that is a sign that it's time to go to the next level, go to the next season, go to the next grade, whatever. And then when you get there, you got to go into full-on student mode. Okay, let me assess where I am. Who are the teachers here? Who can I ask questions to? Who are my peers? You know, so for example, if you've just had a baby and you got questions, now your teachers are moms who have had newborns before. Like, I never had a newborn. What is this? Is this normal? Is this, you know?
I do got a question.
You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, okay, and now I'm if you go into a season of parenting and you've never parented before and you have this newborn and you know all these people that got toddlers and preteens and teenagers and adult children, now it's like these become your teachers.
I see what you're saying.
You know, and so wherever you are, or like, hey, I'm breaking into a new industry. I know someone who does this. Let me reach across within that industry and find out where my teachers are or my mentors or my peers or all of them. And I think you kind of just start from there. And then you sit and you just learn and you spend time with God. And here's the beautiful thing about the Word of God is that it is alive. It is always relevant, but when, like, it's almost like when your season changes or your level changes, the lens that you view the world through changes. And so the same scripture that meant one thing to you on one level is still the same word, but you see it differently based on where you are.
Different
And
perspective.
so then, yes, and so get in time with the word of God, and He can give you the word you need for where you are. And it may be worse that you've had before, but you see them differently because you're in a different place. And so
That's
that would
that's
be.
that's that's real. Cause like and God gave me this concept. I like how you said that. Cause
I
like
try to say great things,
cause I was
valuable things.
when I was in a low place,
Mm-hmm.
I saw life from a place I ain't never seen it before. I'm like, I would have never saw life this way if I wasn't on my back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what you was talking about.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I
You know,
can't.
like for now, like when we were talking on the last podcast, I see through the lens of purpose because I was in such desperate search for it. And I'm like, oh, this is sustaining my life, so I can never not afford to see this, or even certain things like if I'm leading somebody on my job and they're telling me what their issue is, I'm like, let me see it from your point of view for a second because like I've leveled out of that. But and so my view on it is different. Let me go back and remind myself what it feels like to be in this role, so I can see from her viewpoint and like okay, from my viewpoint it looks like this, but if I step back into this, I get a different, I just get a different response or a different understanding because my perspective has changed, and so it's all of those little nuances that you go through life with.
Okay, so I'm not gonna confuse you no more. But
We'll see.
as far as leaning into it, I was going because we were talking about it earlier, and I was thinking about a bunch of different scenarios on how I could come out with a different outcome. But it's like I realized that one of the most important ingredients to purpose is pain. And it's like when you look at it, like pain even unites somebody. Cause like when you hear a song sometimes,
Ooh, yeah, it can.
like when you hear a song or you see a art piece or you read a book that connects with your pain, you know what I'm saying? And I don't like to dwell on, but it's like I try to get away from it. Even like last podcast, you can't get away from it. Cause even like without the pain, you want like the person I am today. And it's like if my life would have went exactly how I wanted it, perfect, like. I wouldn't.
We would be weak people.
I wouldn't have no kids right now.
We would be weak people.
We would be weak.
You
And
know, it's like training in the gym. Like it hurt to lift that much weight, and especially gonna hurt when you're done. And like the day after the workout, no, the day after the workout, man, your legs feel like noodles. But
but you gotta. It's like,
but that's part of how you get to this other thing that you say you want for yourself.
and leaning into that fact, like not even like. That's what I mean by leaning. Like, okay, that's a fact that we know.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like you can't get away from it because I was trying to go away. Like, okay, I'm thinking negative. Like just just trying to think of different scenarios where you need pain. It's like you need pain for a purpose. Without it, it's like you got to lean into that fact. Lean into the like you were saying, just the simple fact that you're gonna have to get out your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Not even
Pain is a very interesting motivator. You know?
Yes.
Like what I mean by motivator is like to do. I'm trying to give a good example. Like for example, when I had surgery on my knee, they make you sign this waiver to say if this goes wrong, we not responsible up to death.
I don't never
You
like
know,
that way.
but they're like, who would sign this? Nobody, unless you're in pain and you're trying to fix it. Nobody with a healthy knee would
That's
go
true.
in and say, sure, do this thing, cut me open.
If I die, I die.
If I die, I die.
Yeah.
You, outside of the pain that this is causing, why would you do that? So yes, I'm motivated to go through this more pain. It's like, okay, the response to the pain is to cut me open. Okay. You know, but yes, if you're telling me that this gets me to the other side, or the other option is to live with this pain and learn how to just manage this level of pain, or it could be better, but it's a painful process to get to better, but it's a lasting process versus just going ahead and building your life around this pain. But again, like I said, who would sign a waiver like that unless the pain was so severe that, you know what, doing that, saying yes to that is worth this? What?
And it was like your greatest pain will either make or break you. I was looking at $1 million worth of game, Fabio Foreign, little interview, and he said something that I'm pretty sure you done heard before, but you know the story of two brothers, and the dad was an alcoholic, and one of the sons became an alcoholic, drug addict, and the other son became a successful businessman, an entrepreneur. And when they asked both brothers, how did you become the person that you became? Both of them said, because my father was an alcoholic. So one used it, you know what I'm saying? And it's like leaning into that fact, like either it's gonna make or break you. Leaning into the truth, like there's no way around it. Like failure only gives you two options. Either you gonna stay down or you gonna get up. You know what I'm saying? It's like leaning into the truth, like not running away from what's real. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a bad, ugly situation, I know you like to be positive, but embrace the ugly situation and be positive that you're gonna get out. Don't deny the bad situation, but don't be negative in it.
And then see it for what it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes take the good and bad, like it can be difficult, but like take how you feel about it away.
Yeah.
And just say it for what it is. So let's say if it's something like, I'm overweight. Okay. Forget how I feel about being overweight, because there's some people who are just like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's the truth. Now that truth presents you with options. Well, do you want to change it, or are you okay with it? Now we get into how you feel about it. But if you conflate those two things and make the fact the feeling,
yeah,
you got to be able to separate those two different things.
Like positivity.
Does that make sense?
It made perfect sense. Positivity without facts is fantasy.
Like ignorance is bliss is basically what you're saying.
The Holy Spirit just gave me that like all this positive. I think positive. Like okay, don't think on what's not gonna happen. Think on what's gonna happen. But positivity apart from the truth is fantasy.
And I am a big a fan of realism, but I'm also have this faith in the Word of God, and so I think that that sweet spot is that intersection of what is the truth of the situation and how does that situation meet the truth of God's Word. And I think Paul demonstrates it extremely well when he's like, yeah, we pressed down on every side, we but not destroyed. It's like, this is true, but this is also true.
It's a real job.
And that intersection of,
we lost our lives a couple times.
Yeah, like this is rough, but also God is greater. This is real. This is an illness, but God is healer. You know what I'm saying? So if you can kind of get at that, because if you go too much into like, oh God, and you think nothing will go wrong for you,
that's a fantasy.
Then you're gonna delusional.
Yeah,
and then you're gonna start to resent God and people and all the different things. But if you wallow in the natural realism of like, this is what it is and it is what it is, but just because something is what it is doesn't negate what it could be.
And that's where them cliches come in. Like we hear them and I get tired of hearing them. But this when the cliches be true. It's either gonna make you bitter or better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And so,
because pain can make you bitter. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Let you be in the worst. Like I done been there. Like we done been like literally on the side of the road, and you see people, people riding by eating ice cream while you going through.
Wait, what?
You know, hold on. You ain't coming.
Basically, you don't want to see nobody having a good time.
I got a little angry thing about it, bro. Like you pulled on one side of the road and somebody passed by. They all got an ice cream cone. You waiting on roadside assistance, and it be like that.
Oh.
It be like that, but it's just like that's like leaning to all these facts. Because like if we don't, you know what I'm saying? Because you either gonna succeed or fail, and that's the truth. There's no middle ground. Like, and then success is in the eye of the beholder. Like
it really is.
You know what I'm saying?
You have to define it for yourself.
Yeah. So it's like, what do you deem success? You know what I'm saying? And like, he just hit that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, I'm not talking about for like money or none of that. Like,
what does success look like to you? Because it may look like something different to someone else, and so that's why it's very important to really know what you think about things, and you got to kind of guard your mind against so much outside influence. What do you really think about it? Because how you define your success needs to come from you.
Yeah.
And not from the outside voices, because what if they change? What if you're on a trajectory based on the outside voices and then the trend changes and now you just out here based on, so it needs to come from within you. And so there has to be some just self-reflection. What really makes me happy? Yeah. Do I like this because I'm told to like it? I don't like avocado toast. Stop suggesting it to me, Duncan. No, I don't. You know, but if I went based on trends, I would be ordering it every day because I see it on my timeline every 10 minutes, and I just said it, so it's probably gonna show up again.
Why you had to throw the avocado toast?
You like avocado toast?
No, I ain't an avocado man, but Kendra love it.
She like avocado.
She love it.
You know, but if you go based on trends or what people are liking or what's trending, what's popular, do you even like that? You know, I do think that I don't want to go too off, but I do think that there's a time in your life that is really conducive, like early 20s. Yeah. It's conducive to figuring out, like, because some people are like, I don't really like going to the club. How do I know? Because I went to the club.
I tried it.
You know, I don't really, give me like a lounge or, you know what I'm saying? Give me something a little more chill.
Yeah, lounge is pretty
I'm not trying to yell over music. I like conversation too much. And I don't like crowds, so the club just...
The club, it doesn't change.
Right. You know,
I don't know. I don't even know now. My point
is, you can't define success for yourself if you don't even know what you think about things. If you haven't taken the time to know what really makes me happy, you know, what do I really enjoy? You know, what fuels me? What energizes me? You know, when I do this thing, I feel amazing after. I feel amazing about myself and where my life is going. And you gotta take some inventory and self-reflection to really learn those things. And then you can really, in an informed way, say, this is what success means to me.
And like even success, like we look at social media. I think social media has you look at Toby Nwigwe. Okay, his come up, his come up is inspirational because I tell people, it's like even Bun B said it. Like you don't need 1 million people to make $1 million.
Oh no.
And this ain't even about money, but think about is 500 people a lot of people in one building? 500 people.
No, but if all of them giving you $10.
No, but I'm saying is that a lot of people?
What point are we making? Relative to what?
Just 500 people in one space. It
depends on the space. 500 people in the Georgia Dome.
Not in the Georgia Dome.
You know, it's 500 people in Tiger Arena is like
500 people.
You know,
in a stadium. I'm not talking about 500.
But you have to determine the parameters. 500 is a lot. If you talking about like how many people can fit in your store, do not pack 500 people. That's a lot.
I'm talking about as an artist.
But if you're like in as an artist, as far as like a following, as far as fans.
I was trying to I was talking to my brother.
I'm sorry, I spiraled out.
When we think like success, we think stadiums. But you got artists like Toby who started with like 500, then 1,000. But 500 loyal, like that's 500 people who in it for you. You know what I'm saying? Who gon' if they're willing to come to your concert, they're willing to buy your merch. Like
that's a lot.
Dave Chappelle said it like, and like don't get me wrong. Like if you doing it to try to be big, but like this is success.
It is. Let me tell you. So I because you've been featured in Voyage Savannah.
Yeah.
A client of mine was featured in Voyage Miami. And she was really just kind of nervous about it. I said, I got you. Just tell me what you want to say and we'll get it right. But she was she was kind of, how do I want to say it? She wasn't beating herself up, but she was insecure about the number of followers she had on her like Instagram page. It was like a couple hundred. And, you know, and she looked at other people who had been featured and some of them got like 10,000 and, you know, stuff like that. And she's like, I only got a couple hundred. You know, I'm a wordsmith. But I was like, and so I can spin it. But also, like, this is the truth. I said, here's the thing. And if you want to get ahead of that, and here's what you say. You're like, you know what? I only have a couple hundred followers. I said, but when you consider that all of those followers are my clients, that translates to a lot of work.
A success.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, don't get caught up in those things. If you got, I would rather have an organic 5,000 people following me than 10,000 bots. Mm-hmm. I just would, you know, because when I see those numbers, like if I'm looking at people on Instagram, if I see I have a tendency to believe the lower number. If I'm like, you got 2 million followers and ain't none of my people ever like. Not saying that we just know all the people, but I'm like 2 million. That's first of all, that is a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a nation.
And the thing,
you know. But then if I see somebody that got like 27, 100 followers.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, people are really flocking to them. That's organic growth, you know. Some of my friends were like, hey, like after like maybe a couple of years on Instagram, like, hey, I hit 10K. I'm like, no, that's legit. Those are legit, probably just so much more legit than maybe like 10 million. So I think you kind of can't get caught up into all that. But to your point and to the title, lean into it. It's just like, you know what? I don't care if you got 10 followers or 10,000. Whoever you got, lean into who your audience is. Lean into who's rocking with you. And then that will grow and become something, you know?
And really lean.
That's how no label started.
And really.
We out here.
And just lean into like just lean into what you're doing. We out here for real. But I mean, just like leaning, like if you're gonna be an author, go ahead and be it, like all the way. I'm using you
every time you see I sit up trying to be like, what you saying about the authors and the writers?
I'm saying I know you. Like, if that's what you're gonna be, like go ahead and go all like. I know I'm not telling you, but it's like okay, just you go ahead because too many. I'm talking to me because it's like too many times like okay. We put in realistic excuses like I ain't got no money.
Oh,
I got realistic excuses.
That's an interesting title. You should drop that down.
Realistic excuses. That's facts. It's like it's true, but it's like they ain't got nothing. Like I guess like I was telling Keandra, like once you experience death at a close space, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why I never judge how anybody mourn because I'm like Keandra, everybody mourn different. You know what I'm saying? Everybody mourn, but it's like when you like to me. And that's one of them situations, you know what I'm saying? And you can relate, and most people at our age can relate in some form of way. But it's like, once I seen my father leave and realize, it's like life became, it made me look back. Even as a young kid, like, okay, what's really important? You feel what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, it's even the Bible verses how the seed was cast out, and one of the words got choked up with the cares of this world. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do we find that balance of taking life seriously, but not too seriously? You know what I'm saying? And learning how to stop and breathe.
I think maybe it comes down to, you don't want, you can't take all of life too seriously because that's stressful.
It's stressful.
I think you decide what you take seriously.
Yeah.
And again, everything I say gonna come back to purpose. And so, like, I know that. Listen, I will joke with the best of them, and I really am learning not to take myself too seriously. But I do take my gift very seriously.
You have to.
I am very protective of it,
and that's what
I take my craft very seriously. Like I know, like I cringe if I send a text message with a typo. I'm like, oh, like I take it. So, really, but imagine if I.
No, because you be thinking about you the only person I be thinking about when I'm writing. Did I put a comma right here?
No, and so here's the thing. If people do that when they text me, they edit themselves. Except my homeboy, he texts just like he talking. I love it because dialect is a thing. It's us, But I think you have to determine like who am I, and what do I take seriously? Because we don't. It's too strenuous, like emotionally, mentally, to take everything seriously. Like.
But make a decision to do it because I'm like that's what Dev taught me that there is an end mark and like I'm not gonna talk about death the whole thing but it's just like me I'm not uncomfortable with it like people say
I'm not
like
either.
I think I
probably made a few people uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean I know I have too because I'm like why you gotta talk about it because it's valuable to know that there's an end and you know what I'm saying
it's valuable and this is my real life.
So if you're gonna do it just I know we hear it all the time and I tell you kind of just think about it. Like meditate. Like you gonna read about meditate on certain things. Like meditate on certain concepts. Like think about it. Don't just read it. That's when it really hits you. Like hold up, bro. We don't. And I'm gonna get a little deep here. You know what I'm saying? But this is one of my things. Like okay, I don't know if y'all know it or not, but I gotta go before God one day. You know what I'm saying? Like me by myself, not my wife. I gotta go before Him who knows. Like this is a real event, and I don't want I'll be like, yeah, this is not. I know we speak as it, you know what I'm saying. We don't really, you know what I'm saying, because it's a heavy one.
Yeah.
But it's like, I want that to be. I want that to be in the back of my head, because I'm like, listen, look. I done tried to, you know how you put stuff you don't really want to think about or you don't want to face and kind of put it in the back.
Just like push it to the side.
It's like, I don't want to do that because like I done did that with rent and forgot. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Oh, no.
So imagine doing that to a bigger.
Don't forget.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes.
I'm gonna go hard. Like you said, like if you gonna go, like sometimes I go too hard, and I've learned the balance. But it's like when you gotta go, man. Either barbecue or mildew. That's what we used to say in my neighborhood. Barbecue or mildew. Like either you gonna do it or you're not.
And it's you get a little sweet spot like.
Yeah, what you gonna do?
Like this is the time to decide.
Barbecue or mildew.
This the time to decide.
Cause like, bro, like you go a whole life double like, nah, you just do it.
Yeah.
Forget about now. One of the things is hard is like, okay, how we think it should look, how we think life should look, how we think our purpose should go. You know what I'm saying? I seen a TikToker talk about me going to God with my well thought out plan for life. It's like we all know how we want. Like, okay, I'm pretty sure if you had
we've all taken those plans to God.
Yeah, the whole detail.
And every now and then he'll approve it or he'll tweak it, and sometimes it's like, yeah, no, veto.
I never see myself just talking like I'm doing now. I've
always boring talking.
I'm a quiet person, really.
Really,
outside of the stage, I love alone time.
I did used to be shy. It was short lived, but I went through a stage where I was shy and quiet. And then I went through, it kind of evolved into I was still quiet, but I wasn't shy. And so because I was quiet and then when somebody would ask me something, I wasn't shy about my answer. I was like, oh, what is this? I'm like, you, like, why didn't you speak up? Nobody asked. I'm like, But now I'm kind of neither. I can be quiet.
I have never seen you quiet, but I mean.
And sometimes if I'm too quiet, it scares people.
If they know you, yeah. They know something wrong.
It's actually a tactic that I have, not gonna say a tactic, but once I saw the response, like, if I go into work.
And you don't say nothing?
And I don't say anything. And it's like, okay, give a minute to get settled in. And it's been going like 30 minutes and I haven't really said much.
Somebody come and ask what's going on?
They be scared to move. They be scared to move.
They probably be talking all kind of trash.
Like, and it's like, no, it's just like, is she okay? It's, it's like, oh my gosh. Like, and they're like, and they'll usually like rally. It's in my old job. They'll rally and send like a representative to ask me if I'm okay. Whoever's the closest and whoever they think is the closest to me, they were like, is she okay? Go ask her. They're like, hey, so we're wondering, are you all right? Everything all right? You seem a little off today. I'm like, no, I just am quiet.
If you're not talking, I'm gonna ask you just straight up, like you know what I'm saying?
But it's interesting because like I have times where I just don't talk at all. Like if I'm home, like if I'm on a day off, and it's always funny because like somebody might call me, it might be like 1:00 in the afternoon, and my voice will sound all like great. They're like, oh, did I wake you up? I'm like, no, I just haven't spoken today. This is my first time saying anything. I have days like that.
You ever thought about being a public speaker? Like going into the speaking
absolutely
career?
Yes. Like that's on the to-do list.
I can see that. What would you be, motivational or educational? Or both?
Whatever the situation demands.
You good with words.
Like I've taught seminars before. I have done speeches. I have ministered the word of God. Whatever the assignment is, if I'm asked to rise to that occasion, I will, if I can.
She is a preacher, bona fide. She really is. She got YouTube videos. Okay, preacher.
I posted a throwback clip the other day. I was like, I should post one.
Okay, preacher.
I still have my braces. I was a brace face. But the word was still sound.
I got a Bible scripture for you.
What, you want me to preach it?
Since we talking, I want your thoughts on this Bible scripture. Since we talking about going in and leaning into it, it's one Bible scripture that it motivates me and it kind of makes me sad a little bit.
Okay.
Because he said Abraham had hope against all hope. What was that? You know what I'm talking about?
I'm gonna find it.
Let me find it real quick. Abraham, he had faith. He believed against all hope or something like that. He believed.
Let's find it. Hold on.
Romans. Yeah.
Oh wait.
Abraham. Romans 4:18.
Let's go. Romans 4:18. What does it say? Against all hope, Abraham in hope believed, and so became the father of many nations. So what's the question?
It's a certain version. It was like it kind of coincide with we're leaning into it, but it's a certain version. Go back. He said he had hope against all hope.
Yeah. So against all hope, or let's see, against in hope. Where's the King James version? Who against hope believed in hope that he might become the father of many nations.
Just that phrase, against hope.
Hope against hope.
Believe that's powerful to me because that's like crazy faith.
So, what part makes you sad?
I don't know. I guess in a way, when I first read it, it was like it kind of like okay, saying he was believing even if there's a possibility he might not get it. Like there was, it seemed like there was a possibility that.
I think that like
he wasn't going. I would like to think that at the end of all hope is you get there.
Yeah, but that's one perspective to take, But then if you go into like the end of that is like he became the father of faith, and so what do I want to say? It's to me it comes across as I am hoping when there is no tangible reason for this hope that I have to make sense.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
I know what God said.
And
so then it's like, if that be the case, then within that hope, it is impossible for it to not be so because God said it. Now that again takes a level of faith.
Yeah.
But to hope against hope is like that war against the natural versus the tangible versus the intangible. I put a post up about that the other day. And it does take faith to transact business between the tangible and the intangible. And so it's like I have hope, and your hope is justified to nobody else.
Now that's
against those odds.
And
I'm gonna choose to hope in this thing that doesn't make sense, and even if I only see it in my mind,
exactly, that's what
I see it.
Now you catch it.
Against the fact that nobody else can see it.
There you go. See?
And there's evidence actually against my hope.
Yeah. See,
like there's actual tangible evidence against what I'm hoping for. I'm still gonna hope for it anyway, and I'm gonna believe it anyway.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. And you know what that looks like to me? That looks like 17-year-old single mother, homeless. You know what I'm saying? I seen that today on the interview. She was homeless, living under a bridge, 17 years old with a newborn baby. Now she has 500 properties. She hoped against all hope. You know what I'm saying? She leaned into that thing. And you went exactly where I was trying to get you to go. That's why I read the scripture, because I'm like, he hoped. Like sometimes you in situations, you know what I'm saying, where it seems like you hoping for the impossibility. It's like. But just like God said, he take the foolish things and come like you
confuse the wise.
You gotta be willing to hope against all hope. You gotta be willing to face impossible sometimes. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying. You gotta be willing to hold the fort down. That's why you flow with it perfectly. You know what I'm saying. I ain't know if you was kind of catching the.
Glad I could deliver.
That was fire. Anyways, it's just like 9. I'm probably gonna cap it off soon. I got to do daddy duty.
What? Didn't you have one more thing you want to talk about?
I do.
What's that? All right, go for it. Let's hit it.
I got a couple stuff.
Let's bring it in.
But
a couple things.
That's where. But that's where I wanted you to go when you had because sometimes you got to do that, and it's like
you do.
How strong is your belief? You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
it's that moment where you like if you tell somebody, "Hey, I'm gonna do this," and they're like, "Based on what?" Based on the fact that I believe I'm gonna do this. Yeah, that's like
it gotta be in you.
Well, but yes, it's gotta be.
You can't need no outside validation. If you need validation, you know what I'm saying, from any other source. You know what I'm saying. Now nobody does it alone, but you can't. Like you gotta be, like we said in the lab, you gotta be willing to go alone. Like that thing gotta be inside you.
Yes.
Like we all done seen crazy belief. We done seen movies, or how somebody just believe crazy. It always inspires people. You know what I'm saying? It's always impossible until it's done. You know what I'm saying? We can go to several examples.
You ever notice, though, what's interesting to me about that is, like, if you talk about your hope enough, even against the evidence against your hope, it's interesting how people who know that you're hoping for something, from their point of view, it just doesn't make sense. You are really hoping against hope. But if you keep hoping, do you ever notice how people kind of like, they may not say it, but they kind of hoping with you?
Yeah.
They hoping you make it because that does something for their hope.
Yeah, they
Like,
looking at.
when I finished my book, I was really a little overwhelmed by, first of all, I didn't realize how much I've been talking about it. I shouldn't have been surprised, but I've been working on it for 5.5 years. So of course I'm talking about it through different, like a lot of seasons are changing. I'm still talking about this book, and it just like, and you got to the point like, all right, where's that now? I'm like, it's coming,
I'm gonna do that now.
But I was really overwhelmed by the number of people like from my past, especially like people that I had worked with that heard me talking about it. It was like, that hit me up like I ain't talked to them in a year. Like, you know what, you always said you was gonna do this and you did it. You always said, you know, you was always working and grinding, but you was always working on that book, or you was always, and we never read anything from it, so we didn't know if it was all in your mind or we had, you know. But it does something for other people. You know, it inspires their hope when you hold on to yours and follow through, and you get that.
I mean, and what better way?
Result?
What better way to reveal God than in an impossible situation?
Way?
And it does inspire people. I mean, like it do. Like, especially when you talk about it, and then they see it.
Yes.
Oh, like it really happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But they always said they was gonna.
That's why you gotta. You know what I'm saying? And it do that. But you know what I'm saying? Somebody gotta be willing to hope against hope.
Somebody got.
You know what I'm saying? Harriet Tubman hoped against hope. You know what I'm saying? Martin Luther King hoped against
a lot. She
hope.
hoped against hope.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. It's like you gotta be. Man, I can talk about, like, cause that's necessary. That's for anybody. Cause somebody might be watching this, and especially like if you out there and you just like Steve Harvey. You know what I'm saying? Staying in his car how many times? What, 3 years?
Tyler Perry. Tall self lived in a little Geo Metro or something. Exactly. Like, you know.
Like how much do you like? Does your belief require validation? If it requires validation, then I'm sorry. Because people not gonna believe it. People believe results, and you can't take it personal.
Right.
You can't take it personal. Like, they believe results.
They do.
You know what I'm saying? It's not even about like, okay, I can't. Once you start getting a little results, you get a little more influence. That's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, don't take it personal.
Because the tangible, the natural question people gonna ask is based on what? You know?
Yeah, what you done did.
That's just like my grandfather had crazy faith. But he would go into he went into a bank one time to get a loan, and they were like, well, you know, okay. Then they had a relationship with, you know, they've been banking there. He's like, listen, we know that you are believing God, and we understand your faith, but I need something to put on this paper about what this loan and like how you expect to repay this loan, you know. But he would do stuff like, he did deals like that all the time. Like, my grandfather is really responsible for starting just bus ministry in Middle Georgia, period. Like, people weren't using buses to transport kids to church.
He was a trailblazer.
Yes, very much so. And he went into, my mom tells the story all the time, but I need a bus because their goal was like to get kids in Sunday school. And so he went to, somehow somebody put him in contact with the owner of Bluebird, the bus company. And he went and talked to him, and he was like, listen, I need a bus, just a single bus, and here's what I want to do with it. And they was just like asking for this amount of money. He's like, well, I don't have this and whatever. He's like, but this is what I'm trying to do, and this is why I'm asking for this or whatever. And the guy was just like, no, basically, you know, and for however he shut it down. And my grandfather was getting up to leave, and he said, you know, I came to you because somebody told me that we believe the same God. Mm-hmm. And I am building this camp that's going to be 50 years old next year. And I want to do this for these kids. And somebody sent me to you because they said we had the same God and we believe the same thing, but maybe they were mistaken. That man was so convicted by that.
You gotta be.
My granddaddy got his bus. The kids got to Sunday school, but he still continued even after he died, giving donations to. Mm-hmm. That's a real
trailblazer.
You know,
it take heart, man.
But my granddaddy would walk into banks with nothing but faith. They're like, but to the point people knew it. They were like, we know that that you believe that God, but what are we gonna put on this paper?
We
And
need that.
basically, that's what people are asking. It's just like, based on what should you believe that this is yours, that you have the right to this? I believe it because God said it.
And it's like, man, what is life without faith? Because what is life without risk? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think, like, what is life without risk? It's boring. At a certain extent. Now, don't get me wrong.
I
Risk.
think, and even not necessarily, I think it could be a little boring, but if you've never done anything to compare it to, it may not be boring to you. What I will say is that I would think with no risk, I would be filled with regret.
A lot of regret.
And like, so it may not
regret.
necessarily be boring. I think once you start doing other things in comparison, like, oh yeah, my life was a little boring, but you don't necessarily know if that's all you know.
I guess it's
but I do
comfortable.
think that a life like that
It's full
could
of
be
regret.
full of regret.
And that's what.
Like, you never tried anything, you never took a shot at anything, you never bet on yourself, or
And that's my biggest. Like, I fear regret worse than death, because it's like when you get. I feel that like okay, death is bad, but just imagine
I'm
being
tired.
imagine being alive at 60 and you just mad because you didn't
you haven't done anything.
do what you know you wanted to
Well,
do,
yeah.
or even tried. Like tried and failed. I can make peace.
Yeah,
with.
absolutely.
But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? I see you over there yawning.
Listen,
It's all right.
it's so
Look,
involuntary.
everybody sleeping.
Yawns, laughs, sneezes, they all involuntary.
Let me go and cut. Let me go in so the manager can get some rest. How about this? You got any? I'm gonna put final thoughts on here. Seeing
What you got?
How you feel? You want my final thoughts?
Yeah.
Hope against hope, man. Lean into it, man. Like believe. Like simply believe. Like however big you want that belief to be. And it's like I understand now why Jesus said, "Come to me as a child." You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
In a sense. And it's hard, man. It's when you're an adult, it's hard not to factor in
Life.
adult things. You know what I'm
Factor in
saying?
life.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I hear you, God, but this phone bill.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like at least attempt. At least I'm just like somebody may be on the edge, you know what I'm saying? Of like make the decision and go with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
And lean into being just a student, an eternal student. You know?
and don't take life so seriously.
And just because you're always doing by nature, being a student, at some point you will master some things. Well, then find something new to be a student of. Or once you level up, lean into to the learning, then to the curiosity, ask the questions, find your mentors. Where are my peers? Where are my mentors? Where are my teachers on whatever level I'm on? And then the beautiful thing in that, like I've experienced, like both of these, I've transitioned levels several times, but it is a beautiful moment when the student becomes the teacher. I love to see it in people that I teach and coach.
Yeah.
I felt it when it happened for me, and when you
That's
go
legacy.
through those levels, it really is.
That's legacy.
Yeah.
Leave a legacy. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that legacy may be. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's your recipes, whether it's your Bible study, your faith, your work
My
ethic.
mom is so big on legacy right now. She's collecting stories from both sides of the family to put together as a book. She's building I think she's gonna name it. She hasn't revealed the name yet. I think she's gonna name it after her mother. But she's building a legacy and literacy center.
Oh, that's a whole center?
Mm-hmm.
L-
She's a family literacy expert. I talk
Twig-
about her in my book. But
in Twiggs County?
yes. But she's building a legacy and literacy center.
Well, congratulations.
And I'm so proud of her. I'm so
That's
proud
major.
of her.
That's boss moves.
Yeah, I can't wait.
That's
to,
boss moves. You gotta let me know when the grand opening.
Yeah, once we might just do an episode down there.
That'd be fire.
Just set up and just us